All right, so let's look at question 7. We have f of x is equal to x cubed plus 1. Let's take a look at this graph. Okay, so before we look at the graph, let's replace f of x with y. Y is equal to x cubed plus 1. So let's take a look. And right now I've already entered the information in that we need. Let's take a look at the first y sub 1 x cubed plus 1. I want to take a look at the graph. And let's go ahead and complete part B with this as far as finding the domain and range. So as we look at this graph, you notice our domain, going from left to right, is from negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, so that is our original function. Our domain is from negative infinity to positive infinity. And then our range, as we look at it, going from down to up. Okay, it is from negative infinity to positive infinity. So that's the original function. Now let's find its inverse. So we've replaced f of x with y. Let's interchange the x and y. Solve for y. We're going to subtract 1 to both sides. And we have x minus 1 is equal to y cubed. And then to solve for y, we're going to take the cube root of y to both sides. So on the the right hand side, the cube root and the exponent of 3 cancels out. And we have here y is equal to the cube root of x minus 1. And then lastly, we're going to replace y with f inverse of x. So we have the cube root of x minus 1 equals to f inverse of x. So we found the domain and range for our original function. The inverse function, we have our equation. Let's go back to our graph. Go back to your y equals screen. And if you notice, if you see y sub 2, I don't have that highlighted. So when I press graph, you didn't see the graph. Now I want us to just only focus on the cube root of x minus 1. So I don't want to see the first graph, but I want to see the second. So use your the left cursor key on the graphing calculator. And you can press enter to uncheck or unhighlight that first line. And if you notice, it's not highlighted anymore, y sub 1, but y sub 2 I want us to highlight. So press enter. And notice that it's highlighted now. So let's press our graph button. And let's look at the graph. Okay, and notice your domain. It goes from negative infinity to positive infinity. And then our range is the same thing. It's going from negative infinity to positive infinity. So let's go ahead and write this down. Our domain is the same as the original function. And then use your graphing calculator for you to graph and compare that as well. And we'll do some examples in class, just to kind of refresh before when I see you on next class. So we're done.